What's up, home bartenders? Fall is just around the corner, and this time of year, there's no better spirit to sip than delicious apple brandy. So let's make the top 10 apple brandy cocktails that you should know how to make. All right, let's do it. I'd like to thank Spy Cider House Distillery for sending me a bottle of their new batch of apple brandy. This is their Matahari apple brandy. I've had it for many years. It's fantastic. Bit of ethanol, but pure apples on the nose. It's like apple juice, straight up apple juice. Bit of vanilla, some baking spices, but overwhelmingly apples. Amazing. This stuff is great to sip on, but it's even better in cocktails, so let's get going.
Starting with the Apple Cinnamon Old Fashioned. This one's just a fall classic. All right, so 2 ounces of apple brandy. We're going with a classic kind of whiskey old-fashioned template, but we're using apple brandy. For our sweetener, just a touch of cinnamon syrup. 1/4 ounce, you can do a little less if you don't want it too sweet. For our bitters, we've got some fall flavors. I'm gonna use these ginger bitters from Dylan's Distillery, and I've got these maple walnut bitters from Kinsip Distillery. I think I actually got those reversed, but anyways, both distilleries here in Ontario. We're using a lot of Canadian products today. We're gonna give that a good stir, and for garnish, we're doing an orange peel, don't forget to express those oils, and a cinnamon stick.
The Apple Cinnamon Old Fashioned. This is probably one of the first apple brandy cocktails I've ever had, and I've been in love with it ever since. Oh man, this just screams fall, screams autumn. I mean, what goes better together than apples and cinnamon? That rich apple brandy, those apples really come through. It really does feel like whiskey. This really tastes like you're just drinking a whiskey old fashioned, but with an overwhelming apple flavor. It's quite amazing. And then that rich cinnamon gives it a hint of sweetness, but a nice bold spice. Then we've got our bitters. We've got some ginger going on here. We've got some maple, walnut. It's just got everything you want. It's apple pie in an old-fashioned glass. Man, that's good.
The Jack Rose, kind of the quintessential apple brandy cocktail. We've got 2 ounces of apple brandy. We're gonna do 1/2 ounce of grenadine. That's a homemade grenadine. Check out my recipe for that. Got a whole bunch of syrup recipes. 3/4 ounce of lime juice goes next. It's nice and easy. 3 ingredients. Give it some ice, flippy move, give it a good shaky shake. We're gonna serve this guy in a coupe or a martini glass. And for garnish, we want a lime peel, but I'm gonna do one of these funky lime twists. There we go. I've got a video all about garnishes where I show you how to do that.
The Jack Rose.
Jack!
The name doesn't actually come from the characters of Titanic, and rather because it was originally made with applejack, and it's the color rose. That's really good. It's never been one of my favorites, but it is one of the quintessential apple brandy cocktails. It's been around forever. It kind of follows the same template as a daiquiri, but instead of rum, we're using apple brandy. Instead of simple syrup, we're using grenadine. And it just works. It's apples, and then you get a nice little berry kind of flavor from the grenadine, pomegranate, but pomegranate flavor with apples. It's very fruity. It's very tart, but sweet. That's a nice cocktail.
Up next is the Tempest, one of my favorite fall cocktails, and we're using 2 Spy products today. We've got this lovely Spy Goldeneye hard cider, delicious. All right, we're gonna pour a little bit of that in our Collins glass. We'll get some ice cubes in there a little later. And then we want 1.5 ounces of apple brandy. We want some ginger and cinnamon flavor. I'm gonna use ginger liqueur. You could use ginger syrup. It depends on what you have. After that, some cinnamon syrup. So I'm doing 1/4 ounce of each. Again, make it sweeter, add a bit more if you want. All right, up next, 1/2 ounce of lime juice. Now we're gonna give it some ice, and then we're gonna top it up with that cider once again. We're gonna garnish with a long cinnamon stick and a lime wedge.
The Tempest. This has been one of my favorite fall cocktails ever since I saw Tom Macy make it on one of his Howcast videos from like almost 10 years ago. His videos on Howcast, I think it was Howcast, basically part of what inspired me to start making my own cocktail videos. So yeah, cheers to you, Tom, and here's the Tempest, or at least my interpretation. Oh man, this should be like the official fall highball. I mean, you're getting apple flavor two ways. We've got the apple brandy, we've got the hard dry apple cider, both from Spy Distillery here in Ontario. But whichever ones you're using, this is phenomenal. We've got some cinnamon syrup, we've got some ginger. You can use syrup. I have my homemade ginger liqueur, but all the fall flavors are there. This is top notch, amazing. Cheers. Hey guys, we're making 10 apple brandy cocktails today. We've made 3 already. We've got 7 more to go. Make sure you smash that subscribe button, hit that little bell so you're notified when we release new content, which is every week. Otherwise, guys, we've got 7 more to go, so let's get back to it.
Next up, La Fontaine, the fountain in French. And this one starts with 2 ounces of apple brandy. In a mixing glass, this is gonna be a stirred drink. 3/4 ounce of Lillet Blanc. I'm using my homemade quinoa lillet. You can check out that recipe. But you'll see in the tasting, I kind of regretted using that one as opposed to the Lillet Blanc. I think it needs a little more sweetness. 1/4 ounce of apricot, and then a dash of absinthe. All right, give it some ice, give it a good stir, stir, stir. We're gonna serve this one in a Nick and Nora and no garnish.
La Fontaine, the fountain. I actually discovered this one last year around fall. Made it with the same apple brandy and loved it. Although last year I made it with Lillet Blanc, which is what it calls for. This year I decided let's try my homemade quinoa lillet, which is obviously a little more bitter. It's got the quinine flavor, which I really like, so let's try it. Ooh, that's interesting. Definitely more bitter with the quinine. If you like a sweeter cocktail, use Lillet Blanc. It'll add a little more kind of that wine sweetness. I think my dash of absinthe was a little strong. Maybe a spritz of absinthe, because that licorice is kind of, even just with, it was almost like 2 dashes. I always go dash and then I bounce back. So it's more of like 2 dashes. Maybe a spritz would work better here because that absinthe is a little overwhelming. But hey, still very nice. The apricot is giving it a little fruitiness, little sweetness. Obviously you get the apples from the brandy, but the only real sweetness is from that apricot liqueur. Whereas if you follow the recipe with the Lillet Blanc, as I did last year, I think it's better. So this year I have been enjoying making a lot of these old Lillet cocktails using my homemade quinoa, but some of them would work well with that newer Lillet Blanc recipe. Some actually are nice with the old school quinoa quinine flavor. This one here I think needs the sweetness. So still very nice, but use Lillet Blanc.
Another old fashioned. This is the Harvest Old Fashioned using our apple brandy and a rye whiskey from Dylan's Distillery, another local product. So 1 ounce of apple brandy and 1 ounce of rye whiskey. We're splitting the base here. For our sweetener, we're gonna do some Demerara sugar. That's basically a brown sugar syrup. It's gonna give it more molasses flavor, 1/4 ounce. And for our bitters, we're doing some Peychaud's bitters. That's gonna give it some nice herbal, slight anise flavor, but not overpowering. Give it some ice, stir, 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 and like any old-fashioned, we're giving this one an orange peel.
The Harvest Old Fashioned. So this one splits the base between apple brandy and rye whiskey. We're using 2 Ontario products from 2 awesome distilleries. Cheers. Oh man, that is so good. You're still getting strong apple flavor, but the rye brings this whiskey richness and a nice peppery bite to it, but you're still really picking up that deep apple flavor. The Demerara sugar adds a nice sweetness and a richness as well, because it's not just simple syrup, it's a kind of a brown sugar syrup. And then the Peychaud's, as opposed to Angostura, adds these herbal notes. They're subtle, but there's a little bit of anise there, not as strong as the last drink with the with the absinthe, but there's subtle licorice notes, subtle herbal notes. Man, I don't know which one I prefer. I think like the cinnamon, the apple cinnamon old fashioned, that one is more representative of fall. Like you drink that and you're like, okay, we're in fall now. This one, however, is just I think a better old fashioned overall. Still has those fall flavors, still has the apple, but because it's got a little bit of rye in there, it just is more old fashioned-esque.
The Widow's Kiss. Now this one kind of popped up on every list of apple brandy cocktails, but I've actually never had it. So 1.5 ounces of apple brandy, and then we want a 3/4 ounce of, I got the ingredients reversed, but 3/4 ounce of yellow chartreuse and 3/4 ounce of Benedictine. Those are both sweet herbal liqueurs, so I don't know why you need both, but hey, it calls for both. And then we're gonna do 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. Another stir drink, so get some ice in there. Stir, 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 and serve that in a stemmed glass. We're gonna garnish it with some Luxardo cherries.
The Widow's Kiss. There's cherries in there. I find this one kind of weird because it uses yellow chartreuse and Benedictine, which to me are very similar liqueurs. They're both sweet herbal liqueurs. This one's a little more herbal. This one's, the Benedictine's a little more on the baking spices side, but they're still very similar. So we'll see how they go, because I've actually never had this one. It is a very classic apple brandy cocktail, but I've never had it. Cheers. If you like that sweet herbal flavor, then this is one for you. It's a little overpowering. Both liqueurs, there's 1.5 ounces. There's equal parts. There's 1.5 ounces of apple brandy, 1.5 ounces of herbal liqueur, half and half with the Benedictine and the yellow chartreuse. But it's almost overtaking the apple. It is there. I am tasting apple, but I'm primarily getting intense sweetness and intense herbal flavors from the chartreuse and from the Benedictine. It's not bad, it's an enjoyable drink, but probably not my favorite from the list today.
The Autumn Spritz. Love this one, make it every fall. Fill a wine glass with some ice. We're gonna go with 1 ounce of apple brandy in the glass. Try not to spill it all. We're also going to want 2 ounces of apple cider. That's apple juice, not hard cider like we previously used. That's cloudy apple juice. 1/4 ounce of cinnamon syrup. You can kind of see where the flavors are going in this one. And then we're going to top it up with sparkling wine. You can use something pretty dry here because we do have some sweet ingredients. And for garnish, apple fan, cinnamon stick.
The Autumn Spritz. Cheers. Oh man. Whew, that is just, yeah, fall in a glass. Fall in a glass. You get the apple flavor from the apple brandy, but also from the apple cider. Cloudy apple juice for you Europeans. It's not hard cider. This is cloudy apple juice, and then we a little bit of cinnamon syrup, and we top it with some prosecco or sparkling wine of sorts, whatever you got. Oh my god, whew, that is so good. It's It's everything you want. It's apple flavor, it's sweet baking spices, and then the bubbliness of the sparkling wine. Man, that's good. That's just so good. Make this, you will not regret it. Your Aperol Spritz are great for summer, but come fall, this is what you want. That's the flavor you want.
The Autumn Leaves. Love this one. I've had it before. Great sipper. Ounce of apple brandy. Once again, bringing in the Dillon's Rye, an ounce of rye whiskey. And we also want an ounce of sweet vermouth. So this one's got some Manhattan vibes. We're also going to do a 1/4 ounce of yellow chartreuse. It's going to give it some herbal notes. And a couple dashes of Angostura. Another stir drink, so get your ice in there. Stir, stir, stir. And we're going to serve this one in a rocks glass with some ice. Garnishing with a dehydrated apple slice.
The Autumn Leaves. Cheers. Oh my God. That's really nice. I'm tasting apples. I'm tasting that peppery, rich rye. I get the sweet vermouth. And this time a hint of that herbal spice from the yellow chartreuse. It's not overwhelming like the Widow's Kiss. This is just, a much better sipper. The Widow's Kiss is nice, but this is better. It's got some Manhattan vibes, but I wouldn't call it a Manhattan riff. Maybe it is. I don't know. It's really good though. Try it out.
The Honeymoon. All right, this is kind of a sour, but we're adding a little bit of other flavors to it. So 2 ounces of apple brandy. We're gonna do 1/2 ounce of orange curacao. Any orange liqueur, you could probably use Cointreau here, but it did specifically call for curacao. 1/2 ounce of Benedictine. Man, we're using the herbal liqueurs a lot today. It works well with apple brandy. And 1/2 ounce of lemon juice. Get some ice in there. Flippy move. Crazy shake. And we're serving this one in a stemmed glass. Garnish with a lemon peel. And there it is, the Honeymoon Cocktail.
The Honeymoon. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, it's a nice classic sour, very sidecar-ish. So the sidecar with cognac and dry curacao. Obviously here, instead of that kind of deep, rich cognac, we're getting nice apple flavors. We're getting the orange from the dry curacao and a little hint of kind of herbal spices from the Benedictine. It's very tart, it's sweet, apple forward, apple and oranges. That's what I'm mainly getting. But that's a nice one. Love it.
Moving into tiki territory for our number 10, this is the Harvest Mai Tai, and we're using 2 of Spy Distillery's spirits. We got an ounce of apple brandy and an ounce of pear brandy, or pear eau de vie, which is an unaged brandy. You can use just 2 ounces of apple brandy, or you could pair it with some rum. All right, I want 3/4 ounce of orange liqueur. I'm using the curacao again. 3/4 ounce of lime juice. 1/2 ounce of orgeat. That's what makes it a Mai Tai, that almond syrup. But because this is a fall Mai Tai, we're gonna do a little bit of cinnamon syrup as well. And finally, for a little extra fall kick, my maple walnut bitters from Kinsip Distillery here in Ontario. All right, we're doing crushed ice for this one. Give that a quick whip shake, and we're gonna serve it in our fancy Mai Tai glass and garnish appropriately. You can even torch that cinnamon stick.
The Harvest Mai Tai. Spilled a bunch of it on the bar. That's fantastic. It still feels summer tiki, but simultaneously feels very fall-esque because we've got the cinnamon flavor, which really pairs with the apple. We're getting the pear as well, the pear eau de vie. Oh my God, this is phenomenal. But it still feels very much a Mai Tai. I can tell there's no rum here, but it still very much feels like a Mai Tai. It just gives me those fall flavors. It's fantastic. Oh my God.
Oh, look at this. We're doing 11 cocktails. This is the Autumn Drift Diver, created by yours truly. Let's start by making a fall gardenia mix, just a mix of all the ingredients you see on the screen. Start with some melted butter. Now let's build a drink. So, ounce and a half of apple brandy. And then we're gonna do an ounce of Demerara rum. I've got the special Madeira cask of Eldorado 12, delicious. This is basically a fall version of the Pearl Diver, which is one of my favorite tiki cocktails. Came up with this one a couple years ago. Half ounce of falernum liqueur. I'm gonna do 3/4 ounce of lime juice. Instead of the orange juice, we're gonna do half an ounce of apple cider. That's the cloudy apple juice. We want our fall gardenia mix, that buttery, spicy mix. Amazing stuff. A couple dashes of Angostura bitters. And why not bring back those maple walnut bitters? Because that's the ultimate fall bitters, if you ask me. All right, we're gonna get some crushed ice in this one as well. Serve it in your trusty Pearl Diver glass after doing a nice quick whip shake. There it is, love that glass. Mint sprig, cinnamon stick, apple fan, the full 9 yards, and torching the cinnamon. Let's go.
The Autumn Drift Diver. Oh my God, that's good. So I came up with this one about 2 years ago, and I said, why not a fall version of the Pearl Diver? And I came up with this idea, okay, let's keep that Demerara rum because it's fantastic. I use the Madeira cask of Eldorado 12, fantastic. But why not use that, but also some apple brandy? And what you get is this rich apple pie flavor, apples, the gardenia mix, the fall gardenia mix, with all those amazing cinnamon, allspice, vanilla, ginger. They're all there. All those spices are there. And you still have that rich Demerara rum. My God, that's good. All right, time to rate these 11 apple brandy cocktails. I'm not gonna rate them all. I'm just gonna give you my top 3. So in third place, gonna give it to the apple cinnamon old fashioned. That is just my go-to drink for apple brandy. Every year I have it at least once. It's such an amazing way to enjoy apple brandy. In second place, gonna give it to the Tempest. Now, like I said, ever since I saw that Tom Macy video, the Tempest has been one of my favorite cocktails. I've always been a fan of dry cider. And in first place, gonna give it to my own creation, the Autumn Drift Diver. Autumn in a glass. I know I've said that a million times during this video, but my God, this is like tiki meets fall, just apple pie flavors, the baking spices, the apple brandy, the rum, which gives it a richness. That is just a phenomenal cocktail right there. If you're in Canada or specifically Ontario, make sure you check out Spy Cider House and Distillery. Order one of their Matahari apple brandies. They're absolutely amazing. Otherwise, if you're wherever you are in the world, in the US, Applejack is fantastic. You can get Calvados. Calvados is fantastic. But yeah, like I said, if you're in Ontario, check out Spy Cider House and Distillery. Their apple brandy is phenomenal. If you want to know the 10 top cocktails you should know as a home bartender, check out this video right here. Otherwise, if you want to see a whole bunch of other fall cocktails. Some are apple brandy, some are other, but they're all fall inspired. Check out this playlist right here. Otherwise, we will see you in the next one. I'm gonna grab the Jack Rose right here. Cheers, everyone.